I feel like there's really no other place that you can like do things like that you want to do really. Like you have a lot of freedom in art classes, whereas like in math or chem you don't really have much freedom. I just kind of just like helps me like just it's kind of get through the day. I don't know, like instead of always having to do homework, there's something that I'm required to do that I like to do.
Because like at the end of every day, I'd come here and like put in my work here, and like that was actually kind of a relaxing way to end the day, which was kind of nice. So, it can really help in some situations, like managing your time, budgeting, everything you have to do. That art can really help with those skills, and also if you're a very good artist, you can obviously find a talent that could do something for you.
The one I'm taking now, the sculpture class, is definitely the most like intensive one I've taken, but it's also like probably the coolest one I've taken. I think it's the coolest one because it's like I'm actually making these like really cool things that are up around campus, and I feel like I'm able to actually like use whatever ability I have.
The art that I did at Andover had a huge impact on me. I learned all about color, how to mix colors. The visual studies course, the required course, was very rigorous in terms of the basics that we needed to learn about color and pattern and sequence. We took and developed our own photographs. That was the only time in my life that I have developed photographs.
I thought it was fun. It was just mostly sculpture, and then we did the little photography project in the middle. And like I liked the clay a lot, but it was a little bit harder for me. And then the wire project, like that clicked for me. I had to do a bunch of different trials, but it was a lot of fun doing the wire project.
Well, like I definitely wish I had had some exposure to more 2D stuff as well, because like when I went into my printmaking class, a lot of those people had taken 2D before, and so it was kind of different for me. So maybe if I had had something, and like I feel like the teachers are different almost too. Like I don't think Miss Trespass teaches any 3D stuff, so I like, didn't get to know her until I took later on courses. So if I hadn't, I wouldn't have been introduced to any of those people either.
So it was extremely valuable, and the printmaking that I did was fundamental in terms of my work today, but also the instruction that I had. So I've written about this before, but my instructor in printmaking, Shirley Wienema, when I'd said I wanted to do an independent project and I wanted to make a book, I didn't know that artists were making books. I didn't know it existed as a genre, but she did. She had a master's in printmaking. She had arrived recently at Andover, and she said, well, you know, do you have an opportunity to go look at some galleries in New York over break? I did that. She took me into the Addison Gallery because I said, you know, I think I want to make a scroll. I looked at an Asian scroll. And so to have an instructor that actually knew about a genre that applied to what I wanted to do was very interesting and very helpful. So I started making my first artist books at Andover without really being aware that it was an option in art or a trend that had already existed. And that is what I've dedicated my life to, ultimately. So it all started at Andover for me, and I felt that, as I said, I felt there were no obstacles in my way to developing my creativity at Andover.
I mean, I've always felt like my schedule and the classes I've taken have been good for me. Like they've fit, you know, what I'm looking to study. I can understand, you know, really wanting to take all these art classes and like not feeling like you have room to do that. But for me, that's not really sort of like my interest. But I could see that like if somebody, or even like theater or music, if somebody really wanted to do that, they might feel like they couldn't because of the, you know, the system.
I think there is a little bit of a pressure here to like almost pick one or two things and then go far in them instead of broadening like your classes and taking like one elective here and like one elective in another course instead of in another subject instead of like what it kind of, I feel a little bit of pressure to like go on like one path and then another path instead of like widening everything.
Our 200 was a really great class. It was a year-long class. It was a half class, and so we didn't give a lot of homework in the class. It was taken by ninth graders, and ninth graders took either Music 200 or they took Art 200 all year long. So they took either one or the other. And it was nice to have it all year. I think that the students were able to try lots of different things and figure out what they might want to pursue if they wanted to pursue anything. Whereas I think with the way we have it now, it's good that students have their choice of 2D, 3D, or digital media, but I think when they choose one over the other, they're kind of making assumptions about themselves and their own abilities, and they don't have that option to explore and discover, other media. The change in curriculum was part of a larger plan to decrease the number of terms. The number of terms of diploma requirements for the students, to open up their schedules more, to allow them to sort of follow their own passions or their own interests a little more than they could when they had the 3 terms of art. And it sort of worked, but also I think that students feel such a huge compulsion to take a really rigorous program for college admissions that I don't know that it really made that much difference.
Yesterday we went into Morrison with this guy who had like combined math with art, and I thought that was really interesting, so maybe more of that. I don't know how it would be done, but that was actually fun and it could be really interesting.
So I actually think that, and this is something that's happening at the most important universities across the country, that the arts are being fed to and integrated into science and math and technology and engineering courses. And it's helping those branches of learning called STEM it's helping the people in those branches of learning to do problem solving, to think outside the box. So I think that it would be amazing if at Andover you could have a week during different terms of science and math. You could have an art project or programming, an art liaison person that is working specifically with the curriculum in that course, but doing a creative project. So if you can't even change the Andover curriculum enough for more people to be taking arts, or feel free to be able to do that without putting their college at risk, their matriculation, then you could bring arts to the STEM courses, and it could be really interesting without, I think, putting undue burden on the faculty. Because if you had a liaison person that's adapting a project to the pre-existing curriculum in science and math, it could be very interesting.
I think one thing that we could do better with incorporating art into like the educational curriculum or like academic curriculum would be to view a lot more art and like go to the Addison more and look at like the Art 500 exhibits more. Exposing our students to art could definitely be beneficial, and it could really span all the different departments.
I don't know if the long class periods will come back, and I don't know if within specific classes that the use of some of those tools will come back the way it was. There are issues with risk management as well. I think we're becoming a more and more cautious society and a more and more litigious society, and those things play into what the teachers and the academy feels like students can do and can't do. But at the same time, I feel like there's a lot of buzz in the air right now for the ideas of things like makers spaces and fab labs, and the idea of building things and making things that might be a cross-disciplinary endeavor. What if students were working with a teacher from the art department and maybe with a computer science teacher or a math teacher or a physics teacher, what if we're all working together in the process of making things? Maybe not making art, maybe making, who knows, robotic hands or whatever. But I think that idea of making things and that idea of the concrete, I think my feeling is that that's going to come back. So if I really felt like none of this was going to come back, I would get rid of those tools and do something else. But they're still here. We haven't gotten rid of anything. All that stuff is still here, and I have a feeling it's going to be coming back.
Maybe like if there were some lower classes where like they like gave you like it was like a free thing that you could do like literally whatever you wanted to do, like there were some guidelines, but like you could go and just go as far as you wanted, like not necessarily like staying in the restraints of a certain assignment, and maybe just like you have all these resources, just go for what you want.
Well, I took art just because I was drawn to it. I didn't have any idea about my future, my professional career. I just enjoyed art, I took art, and I assumed that I would be doing art and writing to some capacity throughout my life. In the end, I actually did more art at Andover than I did in college, and I majored in fine arts and communications in college.
I'm not sure about going into it. I mean, what I'm gonna do later, but like I definitely want to continue doing something like art related, like whether it's just free time or not.
I might want to take like another level of like a sculpture based art class, because again, like I really enjoy doing that. I personally, I don't feel like I'm very artistic, and so I'm not sure if like how much I could like contribute like my artwork to the community. Well, I mean, maybe I am. It's just again at my old school, like I don't think I ever was able to go very deep into art. We would just do like little drawings here, and never like a final project like this. So maybe I am artistic. I just like, because so far I've been really enjoying these projects.
Well, if you want to sing out, sing out. And if you want to be free, be free. 'Cause there's a million things to be. You know that there are, 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 you know that there are.